Hey traders, welcome back for another live session. London session has just started. It's about 8 a.m. In the UK, so we are beginning to see the first bits of volume coming in. Um, so currently on the GBP USD, we have just seen the inflation data, CPI data get announced by the UK, and I think it came out at 2. I apologize, traders. I have no idea what's going on with the internet today. It seems to be incredibly bad. Let me just reload my trading view and let's see if we can take a look at the charts. All right. It looks like it's not loading. How frustrating. Let's take a look and see what we can. We are certainly not off to a good start at all. Wow. Internet was working perfectly fine until I start live streaming, and for some reason, the connection just goes incredibly bad. Anyway, coming back to the GBP USD, we are looking like we are trending down. We are pushing into the downside. Very frustrating because there's been a peace deal between the US and Iran. And based on that, we should actually be seeing a complete reversal back into the upside on GBP USD. So at this point in time, we're just in this horrible consolidation, push up, a little bit of consolidation, pushing down. And now we just trended down, producing these lower highs, and now we've just seen this push back up, which indicates a trend reversal because we're seeing changes of characters into the upside, and now we're just pushing down again, which is very frustrating because I am looking for those long positions, and but the GBP USD has somewhat become a secondary Forex pair for myself these days because we have just been seeing this absolute, pointless market movements, right? So at this point in time, I am looking for those long positions, and so we have seen that the price has come down into this hourly demand. We are now hopefully going to bounce off the 200 EMA, and I have looked into entering this position. So we'll see if this one plays out today, which would be fantastic if it does. Euro dollar, very similar thing. I've put an alert here because what I'm waiting for is to see whether or not the price re-enters into this tap in zone. Again, we are looking for these long positions on the euro dollar. So I'm just waiting to see whether or not it does come into this tap in zone. If it does, then I will likely enter into a long position targeting these previous highs up here. Heading over to USD JPY. So we were quite successful. We were very successful last week because when the price returned into this supply zone, we saw a substantial push into the downside, entering into that position and getting TP'd out. Now we're just looking to see what the USD JPY want to do next. I think some of the economic data came out today as well. I think their balance of payments came out. Let's have a look. Oh, sorry, balance of trade. And the actual is a little bit better than what had been forecasted. However, this is still really bad compared to the prior for the Japanese yen. So we could be seeing just a continuation in consolidation on the USD JPY for the time being. So I'm not looking to enter into any positions from here at the moment, although what we are seeing are these beautiful breaks of structures. We are seeing that the price is moving into the upside. It is creating these ascending highs. ascending lows and these ascending highs. So, you know, we would likely want to be looking for those long positions. But again, I'm a little bit precarious. I'm very afraid that the Bank of Japan might jump in and just repurchase back or sell some of their USDs, US dollar, in return for the yen, pushing the price back into the downside. Entered a short position on USD Swiss CHF into the downside. So we have seen that the price had been pushing up quite aggressively. We then saw, let me just drop out to the 4-hourly frame. So based on the 4-hourly frame, yes, we saw the price had come up quite aggressively, and then we just saw this sharp move down. We saw the price try to retrace back up, and I think we hit the 0.5 fib around there. And then we just saw the price continually push down with another breaker structure into the downside. And so then we saw the price again trying to come back up, and then there's just signal to me that, okay, a short position is likely here. And you can see that I've entered into that position, waiting for it to re-enter into this potential demand zone. And if we see that it does enter into that potential demand zone, I will then likely look for long positions there. AUD NZD. So again, we are looking for those long positions at the moment. Let me just drop out to the daily. Because we are trading aggressively above the 200 EMA, we are generally looking for those long positions. However, what I've been a little bit afraid of is that we saw this huge push down. The price came up just above the 0.5 fib, pushed back down into the downside. Lucky for us that it didn't break this previous low, and we may now see that continuation, that trend continuation into the upside on AUD NZD. So that is why I entered into that position. However, what we also saw is that the price pushed up quite aggressively. We saw this nice price action candle, which signals a liquidity sweep. And so we're seeing that push down again. And so I've got two potential setups at the moment. The one that I'm currently in, or what we might end up seeing, is that price retraces back to the weekly open, and then I would look for another long position. So I am bullish on AUD NZD at this point in time. AUD USD, I've not played. I didn't do an analysis with. Same with USD CAD. Although we can see that we are pushing quite aggressively into the upside. I mean, because I'm looking for longs on the major pairs. You know, I'm hoping that this could be a reversal, a pivot point for USD CAD, or for USD. So USD JPY and USD CAD. I'm hoping this becomes more of a pivotal point where we then start to see the climb down. Because I mean, we're seeing just like this huge push up, and this has largely been driven by the conflict in the Middle East. So hopefully we'll begin to see a new trend reversal into the downside on USD CAD, but I haven't done a full technical analysis on that just at this point in time. DXY, we're seeing multiple pathways that the DXY can undertake. So the first one that we're seeing is hopefully that the price will continue now moving into the downside, and the trend will reverse because there is now a peace deal. And we know during times of peace, the US dollar is less attractive. I think the Fed interest rates are going to come out as well. So I think a lot of people are just waiting to see what the Fed's interest rate decision is tomorrow before they start entering into the market. But I assume if it comes out at 3.75%, then we'll likely see a continuation into the downside, ultimately pushing all of our major pairs into the upside. So at this point in time, we might see DXY pushing up a little bit higher, taking out some of this potential liquidity, maybe re-entering this potential supply zone before then pushing down. What we also might see is that, yes, the price will come up just to this potential liquidity and then push down more aggressively. Or we may just see, or the first pathway that I put down here is that we may just see the price continue pushing into the downside. It may come back up for a retest, and then we'll just see that continuation throughout with the DXY, ultimately then pushing up all of our major currency pairs. Heading over to XAUUSD. So this one's quite a good one. Which I'm just because we are seeing signs of that trend reversal now, which is really good, and hopefully we'll begin to see gold pushing up even more over the next couple of days. I am, however, just waiting for the price to retrace back into this area here, or just this tap in long position before I then enter into that trade and hopefully TPing around the month's open. So I'm just waiting for that to occur. At the moment, I put an alert there, and I did a small time short position earlier. So I think there's a lot of people speculating that the gold price is going to push down again before it goes up. And so I'm just waiting on that for this point in time. All right. Heading over to BTC USDT. So again, this is not something that I trade personally, but we had been waiting for that potential pivot point. And it does seem as though this was that pivot point. We can see that on the daily, we can see that we are now breaking market structure. What I'm expecting to occur is something like this, where it comes back down just for another retest, and then we'll just continue pushing into the upside. So just wait for that retest unless you want to start shorting it slightly back into this position. But I would wait for that retest before then entering into a long position on BTC USDT. Let's head back to GBP USD. Hopefully we're now beginning to see the signs of that hourly demand zone playing out, which we are, which is nice. Like I said, I am looking for those long positions on GBP USD. Hopefully it plays out today. Let me just move this over to a 15-minutely. Just push this down. I'm just playing with my MT trader at the moment. There we go. Just readjusted my stop loss here. I've just brought my stop loss to 4102 around about here, but I increased the TP a little bit higher, 4366. That's a little bit too high. Why is that so high? 4356. It should be 45. Okay, well, I'll leave it there for now. Let me just lock that in just for the time being. So I'm just waiting to see what happens with that. What I'll be a little bit concerned about is that there might be a little bit more of a continuation into the downside before we see that push back up, because we might have some liquidity resting below this area. And this might play quite nicely into this previous demand zone that caused this break of structure on the lower time frames. But let's just see whether or not this plays out. I think the initial shock of the inflation rate being lower than expected is going to wear off, and we'll just see that continuation into the upside. Hopefully we'll see that. What else is coming out today? No. Yeah, there you go. So yeah, the actual is 2.8%. Previous was also 2.8, so there's no change. There's no change at all there. I also think quite a lot of traders on the GBP USD are likely also waiting for the Fed interest rate decisions to come out sometime tomorrow as well. So we'll wait for that. Oil is on its way down, so it's just crashing hard, which is good. That means quite a lot of speculative investors are now considering that the price or the conflict within the Middle East is now coming to a close. And so because of that information, we hopefully will also see the DXY pushing itself down following this pathway one would be incredibly ideal. So like I said, we're beginning to see the signs of a trend reversal back into the downside on a lot of our pairs at this point in time. AUD, NZD, yeah, it's starting to move up in the right direction. This is a 4-hour time frame as well, so hopefully we'll see that TPing sometime later this week. Euro dollar, I'm still waiting for it to come down. Oh, what a shame! Like it just seems like it's just so close to that tap in area before pushing up. But no, I'm still just I'm gonna wait on this one. I'm still gonna wait on that. I think it might. That actually seems pretty far away now from my initial tap in zone. I think what it's done is it's just grabbed whatever was resting below here just to assist in that push back in, into the upside. All right, well, I might have missed that unfortunately, but let's continue to monitor. Hopefully, we do see that eventually end up where we want it to get to. That would be incredibly ideal. How are we looking on gold at the moment? So I don't know if you remember on the previous live stream, I think we were around here before, and we just saw that push down, and yeah, we saw a really nice reaction here. We saw a really nice reaction here for gold, where we just came down, great reaction, pushed up, came back down, pushed up again, showing that the market now wants to shift back into the upside. And this would have been a wonderful entry point if anybody was looking, had entered that and TP'd. Absolutely fantastic job. Well done to a lot of those traders out there. Let's return to GBP USD. See how we're moving on this one. That'd be a really nice trade if it plays out today for the GBP USD. Gosh, look at that initial shock. Really, the market did not like that the British inflation remained the same. 2.8%. That's what, 0.8% above average. And when is it? I do think they're going to be bringing out their economic data, not economic data, interest rate decisions for the UK is also going to be coming out sometime this week on Thursday, tomorrow. So they'll be bringing that. We got the interest rate decisions from the US, and then we got the Bank of England interest rate decision. It's going to be, and we got unemployment rates coming out as well. It's going to be quite a hectic trading session tomorrow. I'll definitely be cautious of that. Because if there is another shock where potentially the Bank of England reduces the interest rate just by 0.25%, then we are likely going to see GBP just falling quite aggressively downward against the US dollar, especially if the US dollar doesn't change their interest rates. So that news is going to be incredibly important. I think that is going to pivot this pair into a new trend. Whether we're going to continue moving upward and that trend might become incredibly clear, or we're going to push into the downside quite aggressively and a trend reversal occur. So I'll be quite cautious by that. Oh, look, we got a neutral sign here at the moment. That's funny. Heading over to euro dollar. Like I said, I missed this one. Very frustrating, but it's okay. I guess if the GBP is going to be pushing up, then we expect the euro to be going up also. USD JPY. Yeah, we've got an initial push down. I mean, I must say we're on the hour, so let me just drop out to the 4-hour. Yeah, okay. I mean, it looks like it's going to be a challenge to break this high. right? If we do break that high, then okay, this is good. We're going to see a continuation into the upside. But I don't think the Bank of Japan is going to like its currency being so devalued, right? I think they would step in and try and keep it around the 160 mark. And that could be, signs of what we see around here. We may see that push back up, which we're in at this point in time. Um, this market structure shift where we see that the price is coming up, or at least it came up originally, it came down quite aggressively, pushed up again, and now we're going to see it come down again. Um, so if we do see some full body candlestick breaks down here, and then I wouldn't be upset if I had taken it. If I take a short position, I place um, my stop loss just above that previous high and target some of this internal liquidity low. Yeah, I wouldn't be upset if I got stopped out of that. Um, where is USD JPY? Let's bring it in. I mean, yeah, this currency is facing some major issues, must admittedly. Um, yeah, where would that be? Where would that take us? That would take us to one of these previous lows down here, huh? Yeah, I wouldn't be upset by that if I got stopped out, perfectly normal setup. Although in essence you guys really should wait on the lower time frame confirmations before entering into these types of positions. But let's take a look at was 165.99, which is basically there, and TP would be yeah, 4350. Oh, 43 Chabador, close enough, right? Let me lock that in. Oh, we return to here. Okay, that's been locked in anyway. Yeah, I wouldn't be so surprised. So if we just see that Bank of Japan might come in, I don't think they'll allow it to go high and in here. I mean, if they do, fine, fair enough. But I think that's a relatively okay trade to take. It's an okay trade to be part of. Yeah. Um, so quite a lot of you guys were talking about SpaceX on the last streaming session. I mean, there we go. Well, we've seen what happened, that the story absolutely pushed this price into the upside. I think there's going to be quite a lot of people who are going to hold support at its IPO price. Although I personally wouldn't be surprised if we saw when the first financial statement comes out, or the first earnings call comes out with SpaceX, I wouldn't be surprised to see it drop down to maybe the $80 mark. Um, but for a lot of traders, if you're day trading this, then I mean, wow, it's going to be quite difficult to judge where it might go. But if you are just long-term investing, then I would just what I'm personally doing is I'm just looking at dollar cost averaging, even down to all of these levels. Doesn't matter how far it goes down or how far it goes up. I would just be putting a set amount every week into this stock anyway, because the potential is certainly there. I think just based on their SEC filing, they've already explained exactly what they're going to do and what they're going to try and achieve. So I don't see how it would be a bad long-term investment, that's for sure. But yeah, we can see that SpaceX, did a very good job. It pushed itself, or the stock itself has gone up quite aggressively. NDQ, it looks like we're just looking at a lot of people liquidating their positions, but SpaceX will be joining them in the next um, 10 days, I think. I think they'll be joining in a couple of days, and if SpaceX, because SpaceX will be joining the Nasdaq 100, when they do, that will force a lot of hedge funds and pension funds to automatically purchase the SpaceX stocks. So I think what we're seeing at the moment is a bit of liquidation, just, you know, in preparation for that, because some people might be a little bit precarious about the SpaceX stock. So maybe some people are just liquidating some of their positions before it enters and then rebuying back in when it is quite clear what's going to be happening with this position. Let's return over to GBP USD. Okay, so we're now seeing the initial signs that it wants to now reject. Let's see, we're about 3 minutes away from the 15-minute candle close. Oh, hopefully it closes bullish. We're seeing some nice rejection candlesticks here, though. I mean, look at that. These are some really nice candlestick rejection candles. Even on the 4-hour frame, we're seeing a really nice price action candlestick rejection here. Maybe what we could see is that it will push up even more, and then this will say, okay, there was quite a bit of liquidity resting there, and quite a lot of support around this region, around this zone, which I hope is the case. Gosh, it really just fell off a cliff after that inflation data came out. Yeah. No wonder prop trading companies don't allow sentiment news trading, because news trading. Also, GBP USD is like one of the hardest to do a technical analysis these days. Really, quite a lot of the analysis that I do for GBP USD seems to be off every time. Very frustrating. It's a very frustrating pair to analyze. Look at all of this horrible consolidation. You know, and then we just see these sharp moves up and then just sharp moves down. It's like there is no logic to this currency these days. I think just the entire market is just in a very precarious situation. Let's have a look over at USD and the Swiss franc. Yeah, it's moving down quite nicely. We're seeing some really nice breaks of structure pushing this this pair down. Hopefully that will continue. Um, Hopefully that will continue for quite some time. I want to uh, see a really nice devaluing of the US dollar here. That would really help all my other major pairs as well. AUD, NZD, so Australian dollar, New Zealand dollar, that's moving in the right direction at the moment. Like I said, that would be really nice to see at TP in the next couple of days. We are now just breaking this structure, producing a new higher high. We might see an initial reaction when it crosses above this threshold. We could see a reaction here before we continue upward, right? So be prepared for that reaction. Oh, we just saw so GBP just closed that candle. Oh gosh, what a horrid currency pair. I like how somebody in the chat just wrote, is this going up or down or up, or is there a third option? Third option would probably be to ignore the GBP. Yeah, I think there's quite a substantial amount of people who have a similar sentiment to myself, where this pair is just in a mind of its own. It just feels as though somebody is pressing a button somewhere and making the markets move in such abnormal ways. Yeah, see, we're gonna push down. I think what I should start doing is whenever I want to enter into a position on GBP, I should just do the opposite of it. I think I should just start doing that, you know? Start, okay, this will be my position. So what I should do is something like this. I should do, yeah, I should just do an opposite of it. Can only go one way anyway, but oh, that's how I feel with this currency pair these days. So yeah, okay, this one might actually get me stopped out, and we may see that continuation into the downside. But I think I'm going to relax on trading the GBP for a while. Um, this is good. Okay, we're seeing a really nice push into the downside on the Euro US dollar. Remember, this is my tap in zone, and I have my alert set. So what I'm hoping to see is that the price will retrace back into here before I can then enter into a long position. What am I on at the moment? GBP USD. Yes, of course. Yeah, that looks like it's going to be a stop out today for GBP USD. USD JPY, we're seeing an initial rejection here. Hopefully this will continue on the lower frames into the downside. We are seeing some bearish momentum here, so hopefully we can see this break of structure here. We can see another break of structure here. We can see a retry here, failing to retry. We're now seeing another retry to produce a new higher high, and hopefully this will fail, and we'll see that continuation moving down even more. Should have just entered that position, shouldn't I? Yeah, this one just got stopped out. Ah, what a shame. All right, I'm just gonna leave GBP USD for a while. It just doesn't seem to be my pair these last couple of days. It seems a little bit unpredictable. If any of you guys have predicted it correctly, I mean, wow, congratulations, well done. I just can't seem to crack this one at the moment. Um, I guess, if we were gonna look at some of these technicals and find we are producing lower highs, lower highs, lower highs, but short term on the day we are producing higher lows and higher highs. So, uh, which one would you follow, right? And we're just directly on the 200 EMA, which is bouncing between. So, yeah, I don't want to touch this pair for a little while. It's very triggering. Um, Okay, Euro USD though, let's see how we're doing at the moment. It's still not entered into that tap-in zone at the moment. So I want to just continue waiting until that occurs. We are seeing some reaction. It does seem as though there is a really nice part of support resting here at this point in time. So that's a pretty good sign at the moment that we may eventually see that it will bounce off this 200 EMA and then push into the upside. But I am only on the 15-minute frame. So let's just continue to monitor and wait for it to push down. How are we looking on gold? Let's see. Okay, yeah, we're starting to move into the right direction here. Um, yeah, it'd be really good to see a little bit more push into the downside on gold before we can take up any long positions. Um, just to keep monitoring it for the time being. Look at that annoying double top, huh? Just comes up double top. Okay, we're now gonna see. Hopefully, it comes down a little bit. That'll be incredibly helpful for us. Mm. All right, let's hope we get this pushed down onto the euro dollar. That's all we're waiting for. And then we can enter into a position, something such as this. Try and target these previous highs up here. This would be incredibly ideal. Try and target that liquidity resting above these previous highs up here. That would be very good for us. Gosh, just look at this. Absolute mess. Just look, see, just we have beautiful trends, clear trends, and messy here as well. We got quite a lot of mess here. This was in June of 2024. Quite a messy year that seemed. And then we just had just a fantastic easy trend, and now we're just back in mess. This consolidation can be rather frustrating. So yeah, we're in the lower frame of that consolidation, and so we should be looking for those long positions. We are in an uptrend. We are trading about 200 EMA. So this also plays quite nicely into the potential setup that we want to take on the euro dollar. What am I seeing on USD CHF? Yeah, nice continuation, pushing down. Like I said, might take another day or two for this trade to fully play out, but if it does, that'll be fantastic. Be good to see. AUD NZD just coming to its first bit of reaction here. Like I said, when it comes up, it's likely going to have a bit of a reaction to these previous highs up here. And so we might see that pull back slightly before continuing toward RTP. USD okay, we're beginning to see that it's rejecting, it's not able to create that previous high here. And so again, hopefully we want to see if we can push aggressively down through this week's open. And if there is liquidity resting below these lows, then I hope that retracement back into the upside is very shallow. Return to GBP USD. Oh, yeah. Okay, sure. I just don't understand it. Now we're seeing it want to push back into the upside. Very frustrating. All right. So as I said before, what we'll wait for is to see price pushing down, hopefully triggering our alert, and then entering into that long position on the euro dollar. How's DXY doing? Yeah, it's just having a nice time in its own consolidation. Um, Overall, I can see that it is looking to come down, especially on these lower time frames. Just look at how it's been pushing itself into the downside. Um, Hopefully, it will continue and accumulate into the higher time frames. So we can see that, yeah, there's quite a clear reversal in its trend at the moment, um, to push down. Gosh, huge push into the downside. Huge push. Yeah, yeah. I still think, going long on our major pairs is certainly a relatively wise choice at the moment. How's euro dollar doing? GBP is not performing the way we want it to perform. Rather annoying. Looking at gold USD, um, again on the lower frames, we're seeing the initial signs that it wants to push down. But there seems to be a lot of resistance, a lot of support, I mean, at these levels. So I have to be a little bit cautious there. I think if we just take a look at the volume uh, around these areas. Okay, so this is that point of control here. Yeah, fair enough. Uh, Take a look at BTC USDT. Yeah, so it's doing what I would like it to do, which is come back down here to that market shift. And so we can see that there could be a potential market shift into the downside. That would be incredibly helpful. Um, and then if we do see that the price does retrace back into the zone, and on the lower frames we see that it wants to push up higher, and I'd likely enter into those long positions. Although I personally don't trade BTC USDT very often. Um, DXY, yeah, still trending down. Although it's pushing itself up a little bit at the moment, a bit frustrating. USDC, USD, Swiss franc is still on its way down. Yeah, it came down, came up, pushed down again, breaking market structure. It just signals a bearish, bearish move, a bearish continuation into the downside. Um, and we're just seeing, change of character, pushing down, come down, push up, come down again, breaking market structure again. It's a bearish looking sign on the lower frames. Euro dollar is just horrid consolidation. But overall, I think we are going to begin seeing signs of pushing up, especially considering that we are on the higher time frames. We are near the lower end of the higher time frame consolidation, and hopefully that should signal to us that it will push up again. So we're seeing a lot of trading volume around this area, a lot of back and forth. I think everyone's just waiting really to see what those interest rates are going to be tomorrow. Oh, it's just not hitting my alert. Hopefully it will hit the alert sometime later today, and then I can enter into that position. This is nice. This is starting to push down. Entering into profit, but it's got a very long way to go. Of course the British pound is pushing up. Of course it is. Hmm. Seems like the first hour of this session isn't so exciting. We're not seeing any major movements. We're seeing that the price came down, it pushed up. The price pushed down, it came up, it came down again, and now it's looking to potentially push up. If we see that breakish structure here, then we could see that continuation pushing up, upward with a weakening US dollar. That would be pretty ideal, must admit, yeah. Because this is what we've seen so far. Would have been a little bit better to see it go higher and then come back down. So I'm a little precarious on that one, on that aspect. Euro dollar is finding quite a bit of support around this area at the moment. If I drop out to the hour, then we'll likely see that, yeah, this was a very big price action candle. You can see that it was like grabbing a bit of liquidity there, perhaps. And then we're just in this indecision. We just got this huge indecision market happening at the moment. Um, hmm, this is what I'm waiting for. This is my setup on the floor. I'm just waiting for it to come down back into this tap in zone, and then I would enter into that long position and TP around this previous high up here. It's a very slow day today. And like I said, I think it's just because there's some economic data that needs to come out tomorrow, which are going to be the interest rate decisions. So I don't see that there's going to be too much movement on today's live stream, to be honest. Um, Although I've gone through a majority of my trading setups with you guys today, and hopefully they will come to play. Like AUD, NZD, we'll see that continue pushing up. Hopefully, USD, JPY. Okay, that's nice. That's starting to push down at the moment, which is a good signal. Gold, I was hoping that this would come down a little bit faster, so that I can then enter into that long position. If it is coming down, that is. I mean, on the lower frames, yeah, we are breaking structure. We are looking like we're pushing down, but there seems to be quite a lot of support within this region. DXY finally seeing a bit of a push down, a lot of resistance at this area here, which is pretty good. So it seems to us, we're also seeing quite a bit of support here as well. So it seems to us that if we're going to push down and break market structure here, then okay, we are in a hopefully a continuation into that downside. The next leg of the downside for the DXY should begin. Hopefully London session will push that down even more aggressively. Yep, GBP is now moving up. Well, there it is, traders. I mean, it's a pretty slow session, and I think the reason why we're not seeing so much volume entering into the market is, like I said, we're getting this macroeconomic fundamental data that is going to be coming out tomorrow. But you can see my overall structure at this moment. We're seeing a lot of the major currency pairs pushing into the upside. We are seeing the any USD2 pairs pushing down, like the USD JPY, the USD CHF, which is the Swiss franc, and then just one of the minor pairs, which is the AUD NZD, Australian dollar, and the New Zealand dollar. We're seeing the Australian economy strengthening. I have not looked at any of their economic reports recently. I solely entered that based on technical analysis alone. If we are looking, then USD CAD should be on its way down as well. Yeah, we're seeing that as well. So against the US dollar, we're seeing that it is beginning to weaken across all these different pairs. And what that tells us is that, okay, we should be looking for those long positions then on our major pairs, which now we're finally seeing GBP USD moving up. Very frustrating after stopping me out down here. But that's trading. That's all there is, and that's really is what to expect from trading. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there for the time being because, like I said, we're not going to see some major jumps at this point in time, unless this thing just shoots up right now, and then that would be very frustrating. However, I mean, yeah, it's been a very I think the markets are starting to return to normality after seeing so much uncertainty over the last couple of weeks. So hopefully once the markets do begin to stabilize a little bit better, and then okay, the technical analysis that we run, it should be even more accurate, and it would be a great guideline for us to follow as we go on. Anyway, guys, I'll leave it there, but I really hope that you all can join me for next Wednesday's live streaming session. And of course, if you have any questions or you want me to do a technical analysis on any financial instruments, then do let me know. And I'll see you all next Wednesday. Thank you very much for joining.